Device Nation behind the booth here at Osteal, talking to David Thompson. Welcome to San Diego, sir.
Thanks, Kevin.
So I've been following y'all's booth for some time, coming into the meetings and watching the progress of this incredible technology. Tell us about Osteal. How did you come up with the concept, and where are we today?
Yeah, so our founder, Dr. Brian DeBovian, is an orthopedic joint surgeon up in Saginaw, Michigan. And he's been doing complex casework for most of his career. About 20 years ago, he started really thinking about PJI and how the current standard of care is really deficient, that it results for patients in a long, unpredictable, and very unpleasant experience that is unsuccessful in about 50% of the cases, and started looking for new options. And one of the real insights he had was that surgeons had been relying primarily upon systemic delivery of antibiotics. Right. And the challenge is that with systemic delivery, the concentrations at the site of infection are very low, and they're really subtherapeutic for treating these very complex, difficult biofilm infections. And so he started thinking about how could he deliver much higher concentrations to that site of infection, but do so in a way that was safe for the patient, because most of these antibiotics are either nephrotoxic or ototoxic. Right. And today, with the current standard of care, patients often end up with acute kidney injuries due to the systemic delivery of these drugs. So that's where the idea for Osteal came from, where he came up with the concept that in an exchange arthroplasty, rather than use a bone cement spacer with some antibiotic mixed in that's going to elute subtherapeutic levels, we would place a titanium fenestrated spacer. That spacer is connected to a fluid management system that allows us to deliver concentrations of antibiotics, broad spectrum antibiotics, at levels that are 1,000 times greater than what you can achieve at the site of infection with systemic delivery.
So we were very privileged to have Dr. Leo Whiteside on the podcast, and him talking about delivering high concentrations of antibiotics into the space and his success with that strategy. But there's never been a device to do just that in a very specific way than what we're seeing right now. So I wanted the audience to see this, and then I wanted you to just walk us through what's going on here.
Yeah, that's, Dr. Whiteside was part of the inspiration for some of the work that Dr. DeBovian was doing, certainly. And you're right. What was missing from that technique is a device to deliver it, but also importantly, the ability to periodically remove the antibiotics.
Right.
So with these devices, these spacers are placed. They're connected to a fluid management system that is a purpose-built device that distributes the antibiotic using the fenestrated, the holes in the spacer, into the intermedullary canal and the joint space. But then these spacers are surrounded by gray foam dressings that are also connected to the fluid management system, so that the antibiotics are instilled through the device, they soak for a period of time, but then critically, we remove them using vacuum. And why that's important is it allows us to keep the local concentration really high, because we continue to put new antibiotic in on a periodic basis. But by removing the old antibiotic, we are preventing significant systemic uptake. And so that is one of the pieces that's missing from just an interarticular injection, for instance. And so that's allowed us to achieve these really strong results, but also have a really impressive safety profile.
So for people that are watching this that are a little unfamiliar with some of the ins and outs of treating post-operative infection, walk us through the state of the union of where we are now. If somebody walks in with an infected total knee and we're doing something like that in a traditional sense, how long does that knee marinate before they go back in versus how much time does it take when you're using this type of technology?
Sure. So today the standard of care is a two-stage exchange arthroplasty. The patient is going to get explanted, get their spacer put in, be discharged for at least 6 weeks of IV antibiotics, and then another 2-week holiday. So typically at a minimum of 8 weeks. Now what you'll see in the literature and in our randomized controlled trials comparing our technology to the standard of care, the median time is actually 16 weeks. And 50% of the patients have been demonstrated to never make it to that reimplantation surgery. So today, the patient has a long and unpredictable outcome. With the VTX7 technology, with this system, we are able to achieve resolution or treatment of the infection and reimplantation in 7 days in 100% of cases. So all patients get their new knee on day 7.
That's significant. So for people watching that want to follow the journey, tell us where we are with the FDA right now.
Yeah.
And then close us up with how they can keep an eye on things. What's the best way to follow you?
Certainly. So we've completed our 2 pivotal trials, the APEX and APEX 2 trial. Those results were actually presented here at the meeting. And we are preparing our new drug application, as this is a drug-device combination. It's regulated as a drug. We are preparing that new drug application now. We expect to put that in Q2. And so if all goes well, hopefully next year, about this time, we'll be on the market with the product. So it's not FDA approved yet, but hopefully about a year from now.
Super excited. Keep an eye on this company. Web address again?
Web address is Osteal TX, so OSTEALTX.com.
This is significant. Check them out. Keep an eye on them. I wish you guys a very successful academy.
Thanks, Kevin. Appreciate it.
Thank you, David.